hear me? Hello? Hello, hello. I'm not sure the mic works. Yes, the mic works. There we are. Hello? Everybody can hear me? Perfect. Welcome, welcome. Welcome everybody to this event. Building bridges, real world pathways to solutions deployment. We're very happy to have you here. We have 30 minutes, so I'm going to be both your MC and the timekeeper today, and we're going to have to fit all the interventions in these 30 minutes. So I'll keep concise myself. In a nutshell, we are here to shed light today on a collaborative effort around clean and profitable solutions for the built environment. A year ago at COP28, something was launched called the Buildings Breakthrough, an initiative to really boost sustainability in the construction and building sector, launched by France and Morocco, and also the United Nations Environment Programme, and notably the Global Alliance for Building and Construction. So the Global ABC asked us, the Solar Impulse Foundation, to take the lead on one of the work streams of this initiative, focused on solutions deployment. We accepted because solutions is really our buzzword at the Solar Impulse Foundation. We basically work with them every day. We have developed a label that certifies the economic profitability of environmental protection in all sectors, mobility, energy, waste management, and of course construction. And therefore it has seemed to us as a very interesting endeavor because we are in touch with solutions every day. We know their potential, but we also know the challenges they face in their deployment. And we know that it is only through collaboration between various stakeholders that we will be able to address these challenges, and that the pace of deployment needs to be absolutely accelerated. So we took on this challenge, and since a few months now we've been animating this working group that comprises partner countries at government level, non-governmental organizations focusing on the built environment, and we've also added to this constellation the private sector, because we work a lot with private sector actors at the Solar Impulse Foundation, and we found that it was a very important addition to this effort. We come today with this, which is a blueprint for a solutions deployment platform, and which basically outlines a little bit the work that has been performed until now, and that tries to pave a path towards what can be done with this unique impact coalition that this working group can form. This blueprint focuses on three subsectors of the built environment: construction materials, energy management, and HVAC. And it showcases 21 use cases, so solutions in action, but also success stories in terms of enabling environment, be it from the policy or from the financial perspective. We have developed this in a joint manner with members of the working group, and has been a big push from our colleague Elliot Caruthers, who is not here today with us, but who I know is watching the live stream, so a little shout out to him. The ambition for us is that this platform can really continue to grow and become an impact coalition where we focus on developing a catalog of relevant solutions per subsectors of the built environment and per regions and climate. And also, why not work on specific projects on which we can join forces from a solutions, finance and policy perspective. Without further ado, I would like to call our first keynote speaker, Mrs. Gulnara Roll, Head of the Global Alliance for Building and Construction.
Thank you so much, Jean. And I think my keynote is really kind of more appreciation speech, because I think you took really a very, very important job on yourself in managing this group. So Just to say, my name is Gulnara Rol. I'm head of cities unit at UNEP in Paris, but also I'm head of the Secretariat of Global Alliance Building Construction. So from my side I would really like, first of all, to give you big thanks for actually taking this very important work, because we see at the negotiations how complex they are. Also the sector of the building sector, how complex it is in terms of solutions, but also in terms of how difficult to achieve actually the objective of decreasing the emission goals. As you probably know, UNEP just published both emission gap report and adaptation gap report, which actually shows that the progress with achieving the goal in the building construction sector is very slow. We are not really reaching the objectives. Of course, the situation is very different from country to country, from region to region, and a lot of the contribution coming from the global south, like Africa and Asia, where the construction is so big that if the statistics is correct, that every day we're building the new Paris. So how we're building this new Paris every day, it depends on us quite a lot. So I think we need to look into the emission gap report, also looking for the future solution and maybe connect them even better. But I really appreciate in the blueprint report all the innovative approaches. So I think for us it's very important in the building construction sector, which is actually bringing so many different ministries, because it's bringing, now you probably heard about the establishment of the Intergovernmental Council on Buildings and Climate, which will be inaugurated actually on the 20th of November. So also welcome to join. It will be also broadcasted on the 20th. There will be high-level roundtables on buildings, where we'll be also presenting quite a lot of stuff that we're doing together. It will be 11 a.m. On the 20th. So we will be also inaugurating the Intergovernmental Council of Building and Climate, which will be speaking about the intergovernmental work. And I think all the solutions that they're proposing also will be very important also to be highlighted there. So really looking into the whole cycle approach rather than kind of in the very bits and pieces. So I think this is really was very important that you stressed. Materials has a big potential to further develop. We're discussing here as well that we're not speaking maybe enough of what kind of materials we are using, and of course your working group will be very happy to complement and coordinate with the existing work on, for instance, data for buildings, finance for buildings, also in other hubs and action groups of the Global Alliance Building Construction. Let's say our work on the roadmaps. So I think this is where we could include really your solutions, like roadmaps on building and construction, building passports, so many other works. You probably also heard about the establishment of the subnational action group at Global ABC. So I think this document will be really important to bring to the attention to our working group on the subnational engagement. And of course, this working group and the publication will be very important contribution to the development, further work actions under the building breakthrough that you already mentioned. So we really very much thankful for your engagement and looking forward for discussion today.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Rowe. I now invite Bertrand Piccard, founder and chairman of the Solar Impulse Foundation, to deliver some remarks.
Thank you, Jean. Good morning, everyone. There's an incredible number. To host the newcomers on this planet and the urban migration, we have to build every 4 months the equivalent of the city of Manhattan. every 4 months. So it's clear that if we continue to do what we do today, we will perpetuate the problem of having 40% of the CO2 emissions done by buildings. So we need to fill the gap between what is done today and what could be done. And for this, we have to stop several things. We have to stop to work in silos. We cannot have materials, energy, we cannot have waste management, mobility, everything separated, because it has to be considered as an ecosystem. Another thing that has to be changed immediately is this completely wrong idea that a clean building is more expensive. This is really important. And what Jean has presented in terms of the work of the Solar Impulse Foundation for solutions, it's not only to identify solutions, it's to identify the solutions that are economically profitable to be climate neutral, to protect the environment. And what we see is that there is an incredible platform of potential solutions that are not known well enough by the specialists. And especially because the experts who certify the materials, who certify the systems, are people who are really good experts in what is done today. They know everything. But they don't include the startups, the innovators who are bringing these solutions on board. Which means that the time to change from the old systems to the new systems, to have new certification, new insurance processes are extremely long. So a coalition like the one that we create here all together is something absolutely crucial, because you integrate material in energy, you integrate energy in material, you integrate the type of architecture with the type of use that you want to have for the building. And then what do you discover? You discover that with all these new systems, maybe it's a bit more expensive in the upfront investment. But after 5 years, you have a return on investment, and after these 5 years, it's pure profit. So we need to integrate this, and maybe we need also to have a financial model coming into the system to help the people in the upfront investment in order to recover part of the savings that have been done later on. So we see that finance is part of it. Architecture, energy, construction, materials, mobility. Why mobility? Because electric cars have to be discharged on the energy system of the buildings when there is a peak hour of demand. So like this, you can stabilize the grid. And the buildings are fed not by extra production of energy, but by discharging the electric cars. All this view, I believe, is absolutely fascinating for pioneers. Pioneers love innovation. Pioneers love disruption. They love to disrupt the status quo and have something completely new. But what we need as pioneers is to become contagious. We need other people to love innovation. And what we have seen with our partners at the Solar Impulse Foundation is that you also have big groups who are innovators. We have Holcim, we have Schneider Electric, we have Bekaert, we have Soprema, we have Bouygues. You know, all these companies, big companies, they are ready to do the job. They have everything we need. But if the major constructors don't know that they can use it, don't know that it's financially attractive, they will keep the status quo. So this coalition is not only bringing specialists together, it's also bringing a spirit that has to be communicated widely in order to have the new construction philosophy available for everyone. And of course, not only for the developing countries, for the developed countries, but for the private sector also, the public sector, for absolutely everybody. And then we can make a change. And when you hear that becoming climate neutral is complicated, no, it's not true. It just needs to work a little bit out of the box. And this is something fascinating. We show the way. I hope many people will follow it. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you both for these messages of optimism, which is exactly what we need. What we hear from these two speakers is that you need creativity to have solutions of new ways of doing things, that you need communications to make these solutions known, because we know that they exist, but so many people don't, so it's important to shout loudly. And thirdly, that we need to have collaborative approach rather than silos. And this is exactly the spirit of this working group, which perhaps should be renamed the Pioneers Working Group or the Contagious Pioneers Working Group. And it's now my pleasure to invite representatives of this working group from different sectors. From the government sector, we have Mrs. Moza Al Nuaimi from the Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure of the United Arab Emirates. Please, thank you. From the both academia and I will say concrete academia, we have Professor Karen Scrivener from the École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne in Switzerland. And I say concrete because she's also the creator of a specific type of cement that I'm sure she will elaborate upon. From the private sector, we have Mr. Cédric Demeus, Vice President of Global Public Affairs and Social Impact at Holcim, which is a leader, as you know, in the construction sector. And last but not least, Mr. Matthew Black, Climate Action Manager from the World Green Building Council, so representing more the NGO perspective in this discussion. So I'd like to start with you, Mrs. Al Nuaimi. You contributed very actively in this working group, but specifically in this document with a use case on a national program for efficient cooling, which is being implemented in the UAE, and which in essence is a sort of receptacle for both solutions, finance and policy. So I'd like you to elaborate a little bit for our audience on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Hi, good morning, everyone. It's very nice to be here among all of these mentalities, so thank you. Regarding the National Efficient Cooling Program, it's actually part of the bigger umbrella, the Demand Side Management Program on the national level of UAE. We are trying to manage more efficient buildings to reduce the emissions and the energy consumption. So we focus on this program specifically for the AC in order to manage all the levels, starting from the policies, legislation, to the equipment standards, and also to manage data for measurement and verification in the future, and to bring a better understanding for the cooling system in UAE. So we started with under the umbrella of the government to work with the top key players in UAE, the district cooling companies, because the efficient cooling system depends on them actually in UAE. We have a lot of success story, maybe in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, but we want this to spread among the rest of UAE. UAE is so we do have a local authority and government and also private sector.
Is there another mic that we could perhaps?
Okay. Okay.
Let's try like
So
that.
yeah. So all of these key players work with us, with the government and the private sector, to enhance the energy efficiency, the specification needed to the minimum requirements to keep energy efficiency higher as much as we can, and to spread the technology among UAE. So we started last year. This year we managed the efficiency to be in the cooling tower to reach more than 90%, which is great. And we are working to make this, to manage the governance of this by a specific legislation for all the companies to follow up with. So this is the efficient cooling system we are working on in UAE in general.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this contribution. Very interesting case. I'd like to turn now to Professor Scrivener. If I tell you limestone calcinated clay cement, what could that be? There is a use case in this document in Colombia. I'd like you to elaborate a little bit, and what are the lessons learned that you have from this use case? Thank you.
Okay, well, we work on concrete, and we have to appreciate that concrete makes up more than 3/4 of all the materials we use. So we can't really dream about replacing it, but we can make it a lot better. And this is what we've tried to do with this invention of LC3, as we call it, which can reduce CO2 emissions compared to existing materials by around 40%. And we did this really in an open innovation. We're not a company. We've been supported by government and philanthropic donations, notably now from ClimateWorks. And Argos Cement in Colombia were the real pioneers on adopting this technology. But now we have more than 20 plants worldwide, either in production or coming into production. In Colombia, they've been producing at this plant, which is supplying the big urban areas of Bogota and Medellin, now for over 4 years. And all the cement they have been selling from this plant now contains calcined clay. So it's used in all applications. Motorways, shopping centers, everything. That's the beauty of LC3. You can use it everywhere you can use existing cement. You can adapt it to the application. And of course, they're a private company. So the reason they adopted LC3 is because it can actually save them money. And that's really what's driving now the uptake worldwide. Here we have something that can reduce CO2, but also save companies money. And I think that's, and you can do it at scale. We estimate that today we've saved around 10 million tons of CO2 worldwide, but the potential is 500 million tons per year. So we have a long way to go to get the message out to all the smaller cement producers. We know Holcim are already taking this up themselves. The big companies, they're convinced, but now we have to reach more than half the cement companies are just small cement companies, and particularly the regions like Africa, where we are going to see the huge increase in consumption because of the growing world population and urbanization.
Thank you very much. Fascinating example, and I think it echoes also to the fact that you have solutions out there, plenty of them, that are not only reducing GHG emissions, but that are also profitable, and this is a key argument to put forward, notably to private actors like Holcim and Cédric Demeus. You're a leader as Holcim in construction materials. I'd like to ask you how you collaborate both with public entities and also with other smaller actors, notably smaller type of solutions like we just heard, in a form of an aggregation role that you can play to push all this agenda forward.
Thanks a lot, Jean, and hi everyone. I could speak about 4 hours about this question alone, but I'll try to do it in 2 minutes.
6 minutes remaining.
I'll start by bouncing on what Bertrand said. We have to stop working in silos. So we work in cities. With cities, I would like to say we work with an urban ecosystem, because we are not going to become or build circular on our own. We're not going to decarbonize the built environment on our own. And I'll use one example from the City of London, where we've used this collaboration to introduce new technology. We collaborated with a construction company called Canary Wharf Group. You probably know Canary Wharf if you're familiar with London. Major urban regeneration projects. One of those projects was on a marine yard. What we did is to demolish that marine yard, which was defunct, reprocess 100% of the material, upcycling it, with it construct the concrete slab that now hosts a tower which is 37 floors high. So it was about demonstrating technology. It was about ensuring we have the right permitting. It was collaborating with a partner real estate investor that trusts us, and collaborating with the city in terms of norms and regulation, and demonstrating that recycling construction material is not secondary, less quality. It's done for top real estate development. The second element of your question is, how do we collaborate with smaller actors? We have a venture fund. We collaborate with hundreds of small, innovative startups, sometimes disruptive innovators, to see how their technology can be scaled up. So the collaboration we have, we give them an industrial platform. We give them a real economy scale environment in which to test and pilot technology to see how it can be scaled up. Because in construction, and Bertrand, you know it, it's all about scale. Some technologies work very well at a lab, micro scale, but it needs to be scaled up to address this environment, a challenge on which we're all working. So I think I'll stop there, Jean.
Thank you very much, Cédric. And I think we all see the huge added value of having actors like private sector leaders in the construction sector to join this working group and precisely contribute to this collaborative effort. One thing that I'm struck in hearing you is the word demonstrating. I think it's also an ambition of this working group is we need to demonstrate, we need to be visible if we want to show these solutions in action. And so I think we're fully aligned on this. Last but not least, I want to turn to Matthew, who is from the World Green Building Council. This organization is also leading another working group around this same alliance focused on standards and certification. I'd like to ask you a little bit, how do you see the potential for cross-collaboration with the working group on deployment? So please elaborate, and we have 4 minutes left. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Jean. I'll be really quick. I think just for a bit of context, as you kind of mentioned there are multiple working groups under the building. Is that close enough? Multiple working groups, all leading on different challenges. And the Standards and Certification Working Group that World GBC is leading on in collaboration with Global ABC, other industry organizations, and the countries that are involved, is all about developing and building consensus around some guidelines that can inform the different standards and certifications that we all come into contact with across the built environment sector. And I think these guiding principles are important so that we can have some that will help the and rapid deployment of all the solutions that we've discussed today and that are the blueprint. I think in terms of collaboration with Working Group B4, I think it's just about that. It's about collaboration and communication so that the work of the other working group reflects reflects the needs of the set of the innovations and solutions that you've identified. There's no point Working Group 1 developing a set of principles that does not support the innovations that have been identified and allow them to be delivered rapidly, deployed rapidly and at scale that we know is needed to limit warming to 1.5 degrees. So I don't think there's any magic words. It's just about collaboration and clear communication so that we don't get, further down the line and find that the principles are not going to support that.
Absolutely. And this is also, thank you, Matthew. And this is also something that we really observe with the Solar Impulse Foundation and our work with solutions is that in many instances, solutions are blocked by legislations, not because legislations aim to block them, but because they precede the innovations. So I think these lessons learned from the solutions can be indeed very valuable for the working group on standards and certification. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 minutes left. Thank you so much for participating to this session. The working group on solutions deployment already comprises 12 countries, 7 non-governmental organizations, and 8 private sector actors. It's still, I would say, open for more. So don't hesitate if you're interested to shout out and join this working group. Please, by all means, also download this document, this first blueprint. This is a testament to our collective will to showcase solutions and best practices. For the future, we will continue working together, and we hope that by COP30 in Brazil, we can come with even more concrete items, like a catalog of solutions, not only for 3 sectors, but for all the subsectors of the built environment. Why not some iconic projects that are put forward by some members of the working groups and that some other actors can collaborate on? We know the challenge is huge. Our keynote speakers have reminded us of what the urbanization means for the built environment. We also know that this is one of the most fragmented value chains out there, and so That's why we need this type of collaborative efforts. So thank you again so much for joining us, and let's keep the work going. Thank you.
Thank you very much all for attending the session. Yes, all the speakers on the stage for the picture, and in 10 minutes we will have the next session started with an interview of Balsam Neme, CSO at Dar El Handasa and president of Sidara Foundation. Thank you.